And welcome to our intro meeting for JOW families for the fall of 2022. My name is Jason Pratt. I'm the club manager of the Cascade Swim Club, and this is Jackie Pratt. She is our head development coach. She looks after this program and as well as all of the swim school programs, Olympic Way and JAG. So we're going to talk about a few things here. Again, as we said, we're not going to keep you too long, but we just want to give you a little bit of a heads up as to how this program works and what to expect in the fall. It's very exciting. JOW is the first level of competitive swimming inside of our organization. So whether or not you've come through the swim school program or you just came into JOW because of the skill level of your swimmers, JOW will be a competitive program once we get going in the fall. So I'm just going to put up on our screen just a presentation that we will we'll use to help guide us through this conversation here.
And if you have questions along the way, please put them in the chat and we'll try and answer them. And really, we normally don't have these meetings in the summer like this. We usually wait until the fall, but I typically find that people are not sure if they want to sign up in the fall until they have the information. So we thought we'd get ahead of things and provide the information now, and then you have the summer to sort of think things over and decide if it's what you guys want to do as a family.
Right.
And then, sorry, Jake,
Yep.
And then just one other thing, just to clarify, if obviously you're all just brand new to JOW, but we do have JOW camps from summer, and the camps are, the camps are a very small piece of what the winter session of JOW is. So there's no competitions in the summer, and really it's just a next step up of training from Swim School 3, so which is where everyone's coming from. So there's no racing in the summertime, and so when the program starts in September, what you're going to see from September to June is going to be quite different from what they're going to experience in their 2-week camps.
The summers are more of a prep camp really for later on. And as Coach Jackie just said, give everybody a little bit of a taste of what the programming looks at the JOW level. Yeah.
So if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat and we can discuss.
Yep. So one of the topics of discussion, really the big topic of discussion here tonight is swim meets, because it is not anything that your swimmers would have experienced before. And it is, for lack of a better phrase, everything that we're all about, competition inside of the Cascade Swim Club. So now to say that, it only means that it is something that is brand new, and they'll get a little bit of a taste of it at the JOW level. And then as they advance through the program in the club, they just experience more and more of it. But again, it's not something that they really experience at the swim school level. So we're going to talk about how to sign up for a meet, what kind of information you get through a meet sign up sheet, what to bring, what happens at an event like DQs. And then we've got a little sample meet just to show you in a practical way how it would actually run through if we were sending this information and asking you to sign up for a swim meet. Now, as Jackie said, if you're swimming in the summer doing some of the JOW prep camps, there are no competitions, there's no swim meets this summer. This is just really so that you're not caught unaware when it comes to the fall. You'll be an old pro at it by the time October rolls around for your first meet.
And also, we will have another meeting in the fall for new JOW families again, because we have people coming in during the summer months. So, we're going to show you how to sign up for meet. You're not actually going to have to sign up for meet until October. Mm-hmm. So just to give you an idea of how it all works, but obviously, we'll give you the rundown again later when it gets closer to the event.
Yeah. So again, as Jackie had mentioned earlier, if you have any questions or you want to go back to something or something pops up through the course of the conversation, just throw it in the chat and we'll come back to that as we get through this presentation. So how to sign up for swim meets. And when we have a summit coming, and this kind of pops up a little bit funny on the screen, but you'll get something what we call meet info sheet. Sometimes it's abbreviated as MIS, MIS, and that just stands for meet information sheet. And what it is, in a snapshot, in a single page, all the information that you would need to sign up your swimmer to an upcoming competition. It'll come in the form of an email with a link, which will send you to our website, and we'll show you that here in a second. But all of the pertinent information is right here in what we call the meet information sheet. So going from the top down, you'll see name of the event. This particular event that we're using as an example happened a little bit over a month ago, called the May Fundamentals Summit. It will give you the date, May 7th and 8th, in this particular event, and then any sort of travel that would be required around that. That is just there because it's the same form letter that goes out for all levels, and more information on travel would then be listed. It's not applicable at your level. All of your meets are essentially in-house. They're here in Calgary at one of the facilities that we use.
We have, it's been a while since before COVID, we did have a scheduled swim meet for the Junior Olympic Way kids in Canmore, and that was really the only thing out of Calgary that has ever happened for JOW. So it's actually a really fun meet, and it'd be nice if it came back. Potentially next fall it would run again.
And for obvious reasons, COVID wrecked a lot of the scheduling for those events that were kind of on again, off again. And I think I remember that one being
November.
In November, and they didn't allow outside clubs in, but which is neither here nor there. Only to say, if there is any travel involved, it would be noted on this sheet. It names the pool, which is the next line. This event was at the Brookfield Residential YMCA at Seton, or Seton for short. It gives you the address there, who the host club is. Typically the meets that our JOW swimmers are attending meets that Cascade hosts, but not all the time. And then just a link to a website. And this is really more relevant when someone else is hosting the event, and we want to give you a link to reference. Follow that, swimmers attending, and we typically list them from novice to most experienced, going left to right. So JOW, if they are in a competition, they'll always be listed first, followed by, in this case, by OW, JAG Blue, and JAG Gold. Pertinent information around the start times for the competition are listed there as well. In this particular case, you see a warm-up time at 11, a start time. We don't always put, and seldom do we put finish times, and we'll get to that a little bit later as to how you can determine when your swimmers are swimming, but it's all listed there. The meet entry fees are also listed, because swimming competitions, swim meets, are not a part of your fees. They're not a part of the fees at any level inside of our club. It's always a charge on top of your training fees. In this particular case, it's $8.50 per event. These competitions, if they're one day, 3 or 4 events, depending.
Two to three events.
2 to 3 events, depending. Okay.
2 to 4 events.
And then there's a cancellation deadline listed, because what it is if you're, and you'll see this in the next step, when you go to sign up, we have a date to get it done by, because those dates are something that we use to be able to send our entries in to whomever happens to be hosting the event at the other club. If it's in our case, it's usually a date a little bit closer to the actual event, but it's typically 3 or 4 weeks out from the start of the event. We would need a commitment to say I'm going or I'm not going. Okay.
And the meet entry fees are billed to your account. It's not something that you have to pay on the day of the swim meet. We do get that question often, so that just gets charged to your account.
Yeah, and so in this case, exactly as Jackie mentioned, towards in our billing cycle is not something that you would typically experience because you sign up, you pay your fees, and that's kind of the last of it. But when we are a part of the regular competitive program, you would get a bill every month. Sometimes if you're not doing any meets or you haven't bought any equipment, or the bill will be zero. But in the case of a swimming competition, towards the end of the third week or around about the third week of each month, let's say this is the 23rd of October. In this particular case, you'll get a note saying, on the 1st of November, we're billing you $17 for the 2 events that your swimmer competed in the middle of October, and then it just gets charged on your credit card in the first of the month. Okay. So that's the meet information sheet. When you get this meet information, or when you get the email sent to you from the club, it will take you, there will be a link inside of this email that you click on for more information, and it's going to take you through the next couple steps and jump you ahead. I'm just showing you on this screen, if you wanted to go, and you can go and look now because we do have some swim meets that are on our website, or if you didn't click on the link when it was sent to you and you wanted to find this information, this is how you would do it. You go to our website, then you would go, just scroll down a little bit to this section that says swim meets. One important note, you do need to be logged in to see this information. It's not information that's out and available to the public, so you do need to be logged in. If you were clicking through the link that was sent to you in an email, and I know I'm giving you a lot of information that you don't need to remember this. Once you've done it once, you'll never have to remember it again. It's quite easy to do, and we will go over it in the fall. We're not expecting you to remember it here from the middle of June till the end of September, beginning of October, when you actually have to go and do it. But as I said, the link will take you through, but you can, and when you do the link, it's gonna ask you to log in. That'll automatically take you to the place you want to go. If you're looking for it at another time, you just go to our website after logging in, find swim meets, find the particular meet that you're looking for, and you can just see my cursor here around this one that says age group challenge. If I was in that box, there's a button here to the right that's circled, the red circle that says edit commitment, and that would be what you click on. You click on that, and then it's going to ask you, it's going to show you your swimmer's particular information here. So I click on this button that says edit commitment. It takes me to this page, in this case, age group challenge. It lists my swimmer. If I clicked on my swimmer's name, you would see this declaration pop up. And I'm looking over on the right-hand side of your screen now, where again, it says the swimmer name, declaration, and all I would click on is yes, please sign Cole up in this particular case, or I could say no, we can't attend. And then there's a little box here for notes. And this might be something, and maybe Jackie, you want to give some examples where you would use the notes box.
Yeah, so if you have other things going on during the weekend of the swim meet, and let's say you can only attend one day, or you have to leave by a certain time, let's say, birthday parties come up, and that certainly is important. So you can leave a note indicating so-and-so can attend the event, but we have to leave by 2 p.m. So please don't enter them in any events past that time, stuff like that. So you can communicate things like that to me. And then I'll know that when I'm doing the entries for the swimmer. Also, if it's a 2-day meet, mostly JOW will participate in single session meets or 1-day meets. But we do have a couple of 2-day meets to do, and you might be able to attend Sunday only and not Saturday. And that's where you would leave me that information and just say, my son or daughter can only attend Saturday. Please do not enter them in any events on Sunday. That sort of information. And then I'll see that when I'm going to do the entries, and I can make those adjustments. Also, if your swimmer because the coaches select the entries for the swimmer, if your swimmer is interested in trying a new event, like they're going to start out with very, small events like 25-meter freestyle, 25-meter backstroke, that sort of thing. If your swimmer is feeling confident, and let's just say they would like to try the 50 free or the 100 free at a meet, you can leave a note there for me, and I'll talk to their coach, and we can decide if they're ready for those things. But you can communicate those things to me there in the notes section.
Yep. And even if you cannot attend, it's great for us and the coaches for you to go through this process, and instead of clicking yes, click no, and declare no, we can't, and even just leave a note saying, John can't attend the meet this weekend. We're camping, or he's got a hockey tournament, or there's a birthday party, or whatever the reason might be, because our hope is that all of our swimmers attend all of the meets that they're asked to go to, but we know, particularly at this age and at this level, it's not possible, and that's okay. But it is great to let the coach know, because sometimes we're not always sure. If you got the information, if you saw it, perhaps you forgot. We just want to be sure that you've been given the opportunity to attend, and we see that you've chosen to either come, or you said, hey, it's not going to work for us this time. It's fine either way, but it's great if we know the answer, yes or no. Okay.
And really important when you're finishing this part, once you've selected yes, we're coming, or no, we cannot come, it's important that you go to the bottom and click save.
Yeah, and you can see that in the bottom right-hand corner here, where it's circled, save changes. So once you've selected yes or no, left something in the notes or not, just click save changes. We
have had families who think they have signed up and they've either forgotten to click save, and then the swimmer doesn't end up in the meet because they thought they did it, and so they didn't click save. So it's always good to check. Yeah.
And that's why it's good to let us know yes or no. It's just a fail safe for when the coach goes to look and sees that we're expecting 40 swimmers to sign up and only 4 have. It might be an indication that it's either been missed, forgotten, or people were forgetting to say save. So okay, so the part about events over here, you see that on the left hand side of your screen. This may or may not pop up for you. It's not important. It's not relevant at this time. For this level of swimming, the coach will be picking your events for your swimmer. And so there's nothing that you need to do in that regard. And we try not to have that up and available to confuse the matters at this level. But sometimes when we have multiple groups inside of the club attending, it is there, and it just is. But again, at your level, with your swimmers, this is not something you need to worry about. Coach Jackie or one of the other coaches will be selecting the events for your swimmer to compete in all of the meets that they go to. Okay.
Any questions so far about entries or signing up?
Okay. So that is that piece. Okay. So maybe a little bit about swim meets.
Okay. So again, this is sort of when swimming gets fun, I always think. And I think what you'll find, and I'm sure, there are many parents out there who are wondering, oh, do we want to be competitive or not? And I don't know if my kid is competitive. And my feeling is that, competition is not for everybody, but I would honestly give it a go. I find that the kids who are sometimes unsure, when they arrive at a swim meet and their buddies are all there and they get time to talk and chat and socialize, that's when swimming really takes off. And, if they like to race, it is a lot of fun, and it just becomes a big part of their social life. So I'd encourage everyone to give it a go. Having said that, it's a big commitment. It's not on the parents' part. There's no officiating at the JOW level. You're not expected to do any on deck officiating until Olympic way, which is the next step after JOW. But Anyway, this is sort of some of the things that you can expect. The pool deck is busy, and when the kids come on the pool deck, sometimes they can be overwhelmed. They can be a little bit anxious or nervous, and that's perfectly normal. And it's actually, you know, somewhat expected because it's brand new to them. We always want to put them in events that we know they'll be successful in. So we're not going to put anybody in a race that they are not ready to do. And, you know, I have discussions with our various JOW coaches so that everyone is swimming what they're ready for. And like I said before, it's probably going to start out. Our first meet is tentatively October 15th. It's our hosted meet. It's called the Halloween Howler. And probably the JOW kids will do a 25 free and a 25 back. And that's what it looks like starting out. You know, some of the kids are still at that point, not even diving off the starting block yet. They prefer to go off the edge, and some are still, you know, jumping in, and that's okay. And these fundamentals meets are designed to sort of give them the experience and give them a chance to learn how to do all those things. You know, the first meet, they're going to learn, you know, what heat and lane is and where to find their lane. And the coaches will all help them do these things. You know, get their cap on, get their goggles ready. And I always send out prior to a swim meet, a few days before, I usually send out a long email just listing all the things they need to pack in their bag, you know, what to be ready for, what to expect. I usually do that before every swim meet. So if there's any last minute questions, you know, those are hopefully answered in my email. There's, you know, we always suggest packing a snack, a water bottle, your Cascade t-shirt, a Cascade cap, which they will get, you know, a spare pair of goggles. Because if someone is feeling nervous and then their goggles break, then it can sometimes just unravel from there. So the more prepared they are, you know, with backup goggles and, you know, just being organized will help. If anyone is feeling nervous on the day of racing. Yeah, again, we'll go through at a later time. You'll get emails about, you know, what sort of snacks to bring, what kinds of things to pack in your bag. And it is mandatory that anyone who's racing wear a Cascade logoed suit. And those are available in the club office. And so, you know, sometime before we start racing, it would be great if everybody had that. Occasionally we do run low, but I think we're looking good for the fall.
Yeah, and just like everybody else, we had our own fair share of supply chain problems and from our suppliers. And so it was feast or famine with some of those items, but again, we should be fine for the fall, and certainly fine by the time competitions come in the middle of October.
Yeah, so they will receive a t-shirt. They'll get a t-shirt in the fall, a Cascade cap. I guess I just wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, it's important that on race day that parents, you deliver the kids to the pool deck, and then parents are expected to watch up in the stands or off the pool deck. And it's really important that the coaches and swimmers are kind of given space to do their thing together. So if your swimmer is feeling nervous, quite often I know that means mom and dad are a little bit anxious, and sometimes teary as well. And so it's really important that you let us deal with those situations. And typically, I mean, all of our coaches were competitive swimmers, and some of them still are at one time. And they know the emotions, they're familiar with it, they know what the kids are going through, and they typically know how to handle those things. Together, we can usually, if someone is teary, we can usually calm them down and get them ready to race. And it's not unusual, it's common, and usually they do one race and then they see how much fun it is, and that's usually the end of it. Yeah, and so I would just encourage you to, you know, if your swimmer is feeling anxious or nervous, to, you know, get them to talk to their coaches. And, if they have, and of course we send this message to them as well. If you have a problem, who can you come to? You can come to us. If you need your goggles tightened, if you need help getting your cap on, all those things, we're there for them at that level, and it's very hands-on, and we'll deliver them to their race and that sort of thing. So as best you can, just please give us our field of play so we can do our thing. I just wanted to talk a little bit about disqualifications. I'll just touch on that. So swimming is very technical, and the rules apply whether you're the same rules apply whether you are 6 or 26. It doesn't change. So the rules for 50 free are the same for everybody. And quite often when the kids first get started, they make little mistakes and they'll get disqualified. When they're disqualified, you'll see it in the results. Their time will not show up. It'll show as a DQ. And so a disqualification, our message to the kids is that it's part of learning, racing at meets. There's lots to remember, and next time we'll try and remember to do that. So some, just as an example, if you are a swimmer, you know this, but for backstroke, a lot of the kids forget they have to finish the race on their back. Many of them will get to the end and they roll over onto the front. And so that's a disqualification. You have to finish backstroke on your back. It seems like a simple thing, but when they're in the moment, they often forget. Another common one would be like on a 50 freestyle, when some of them are learning their flip turns, and sometimes they miss the wall and they don't touch the wall and push off, and they just keep going. That's a disqualification. So it's simple things like that, but it does happen, and don't be alarmed when it happens. It's part of getting better, and they go, oh, okay, yeah, I forgot that, I'll remember for next time. And so that's kind of how it goes at this level. Is anything else? Yeah, and again, like the swim meets, are designed to help them learn the ropes. How they move from one part. They do activation, then they're going to get in and do a warm up, and then they'll do a team cheer, and then they'll get their Cascade shirt on and get ready to race, and they'll get marshaled, and then they'll go to their heat and lane, and the coaches will help them do all these things. And it's just it's a great way for them to learn the process of a swim meet. And then once they start racing, they just get more and more confident, and it's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun.
Yeah. So what we'll just show you quickly here is kind of went over the expectations and so on, but this is the list of competitions that we have right now, and things are not all 100% finalized, but they're pretty close. The very first meet for these swimmers is the 15th of October. So it's just a one-day thing. It is at Seton. And there'll be, as Coach Jackie mentioned, just a couple intro events, maybe a 50 and a 25, maybe a couple 25s, maybe a combination of both. And that it'll be from like 11 o'clock till 2, maybe 3 o'clock at Seton on a Saturday. So it's only a few weeks after the program has gotten started, but it's a fairly easy way to ease your way into competition. As Jackie mentioned, just sort of help the kids learn the ropes about how things all work. And all of the officials know, and it's all experienced officials, that this is a novice, this is an intro, this is a learning competition for these swimmers. And so it will be designed as best as we possibly can to make it a successful event for the swimmers. We don't want to see swimmers disqualified, but as Jackie said, it happens all of the time. It happens particularly all the time at this level. But there will be a lot of officials on deck and volunteers supporting the swimmers to get them to their lanes, get them to their events, and help them get off the blocks and so on. We've got to meet at the beginning of December, the Sandy Ferris Age Group Challenge. There is another one in March, the Winter Fundamentals meet. MNP just stands for the MNP Community and Sports Center, which was the Repsol Sports Center up until about 2 weeks ago. Dino Cup is up at the University of Calgary. The Spring Fundamentals meet is at Seton. And then the final one-day mini pro and kind of wrap up for the year is at the very end of May for the swimmers. So those are the competition dates as they have planned, and this will be firm come September once you get started on the program, but that's where everybody has them listed at the moment. This is not relevant. It was just we were talking about this as an example. We kind of went through all of that already. And the even though this slide is a month old, it's no longer accurate as we have listed the Repsol Sports Center as our office location. It's the MNP Community and Sports Center. But this was where you would get a swimsuit, as Jackie mentioned. And so come September, when we get up and get going, you can come down at any time to get one of our suits. If you want to get any other gear, we have plenty of other gear for you. And as Jackie mentioned, the swimmers will all get a t-shirt when they go to the summit.
We always have, I just had a thought, we always have extra spare swim caps on hand at the swim meets. And if your swimmer has sometimes they rip, usually at the most convenient times, but we always have extras, and it's not something that has to be paid for on the spot. Again, if we have to give your swimmer a cap, it will get charged to your account. So we usually take care of that right on the pool deck. Also, I just wanted to mention, like with the boys in particular, because we have obviously a lot of boys coming out of swim school training, practicing in board shorts. And so this is a nice time to transition them into a swim jammer or a swim brief, whatever they're more comfortable in. And sometimes it is a challenge to make that transition, but once they do, it's certainly far more comfortable to practice without your pockets filling up with water. And, obviously it's something that they have to, if you decide to go to the meet, they'll have to get used to that anyway. And what I do find is most of the families who purchase a Cascade suit, the kids are training in the suit as well. They come to practice in it and they wear it at the swim meet. So they will get good use out of it. It's not something that is, solely for swim meets. They last a fair long time, a fair amount of time. So it will be worth the money to purchase one. And
I think that's about it that we had.
Yeah, I don't.
So were there any questions on anything from anybody?
Anything about the program?
Yeah, that we went over. And again, it was a fair bit of information, but the idea was to give it to you now so that at least you had a vague familiarity with the way things work come September. As I said, there's not going to be any opportunity to sign up for a swim meet from now until September sometime, so we don't really have to worry about that. But it does give you, as we said, a chance to kind of think about things. And if you have any questions from now and over the summer, feel free to ask them now or send us an email, whether that's directly to Coach Jackie or to the office, and we'd be happy to answer everything that we possibly can. And as Jackie had mentioned, the idea is to give you as much of a heads up and as much of the information that we think is relevant or that you feel like you might need, so that come September, everybody's ready to go and we're off and running with the JOW program.
Mm-hmm. We do have groups swimming out of Canyon Meadows, obviously in the fall, and we typically will try and get those groups over to Seton for 1 or 2 practices prior to competition, just so they can familiarize themselves with those starting blocks in the pool, and it's not so not a big surprise to them when they get there for a swim meet, because that's part of it. And really there is a good variety of pools they'll be racing in next year. So it's always good for them to, swim in a different pool, dive off a different starting block. And, as we know, things are never always exactly the same. So it's great we have the starting blocks at Canyon Meadows. However, the kids don't get to dive and race across the pool because it's just the dive tank, right? So it's nice to get them down to Seton at least once before a swim meet so they can do that. Yeah, and then I guess in the JOW level, we just can continue to progress. So we left off at Swim School 3. They're learning, the fundamentals of the butterfly kick, and we just progressed from there. So they go from the kick to learning the single arm fly and the drills to learn eventually full stroke fly. So we just keep moving forward, and eventually some of them, this last spring, we had many swimmers in 50 breaststroke. We had a couple in 25 fly. So starting out the year with 25 free and 25 back, they really made some great progress this year. So,
yeah. So any questions on anything that we've covered in this sort of presentation, or anything that Jackie said or I said? Is there anything that we didn't cover that you're curious about or would like a little bit more information? Because this is sort of all that we had intended on passing along today, and again, trying to keep it fairly succinct and quick for everybody, respecting your time. But we'll hang here for a minute or two and see if anybody puts anything in the chat or raises their hand for a question they'd like to ask. But if not, that was everything that we had to pass along in the presentation here tonight.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, so thank you for attending. And as I said, if that was really it, great. If there are any questions, we'll hang here for a minute or two and just see if anything pops up. So thanks again for coming tonight.
And we will send out
we'll send out the link. Yeah, to everybody, so that you can access this on our YouTube page, or if you had a friend that was also slated to move up to JOW, but they couldn't get here, you can, they'll get it. They'll actually get it as well. Yeah. So, yeah, great. Okay. So you're welcome, everybody, for that, and thank you for taking a bit of time out of your evening. And if we don't talk to you from now to the fall, happy Canada Day weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
And we'll see you all again in either the summer for a camp or in the fall. Okay, have a good day.
Take care, everybody.